So good to have you. I wanted to go back to the current conflict, and I was wondering, given that obviously there's one side which does have, a respect for human rights, as you pointed out, they try to go about their response. Israel tries to go about their response in in the best way possible. At least I would argue. And you've got another side that has a fundamentally different alignment of values that does not have regard for the civilian lives. And in purely practical terms, that makes it quite difficult to wage war in a civilized way, as far as you can say that. So in terms of perhaps drawing a potential, I don't want to call it path to victory, but a path to defeating Hamas, but reconciling that with our values and, killing as few civilians as we can. And I understand that you know Benjamin Netanyahu and so on. So could you draw a possible sort of realistic path to victory that might reconcile?
So I'm not privy to the sort of military planning of the Israeli administration. I'm not in their security councils. What I will say is that any position that Israel takes that does not end with Hamas off the board is going to be extraordinarily dangerous for the future of the state of Israel. So that is the end goal. Everybody understands that to be the end goal. It's dangerous not only because Hamas has proved itself to be significantly more dangerous than everybody assessed Hamas to be, but also because that leads to a perception of Israeli military weakness and inability to protect its own citizens that leads other groups, including in the West Bank and also in the northern border by Hezbollah, to get involved. And that's incredibly, incredibly dangerous. So is there a best of all possible worlds? Yeah, the best of all possible worlds is for Hamas to surrender, as I think everybody of good heart should agree at this point. If you don't agree that Hamas should surrender, I doubt why. I have some serious questions about why. That again, very difficult for me to find any reason other than Jew hatred why you wouldn't want Hamas to, even for the sake of Palestinians, why you wouldn't want Hamas to go. That would be the most obvious bill. So is Hamas going to do that? Probably not, which means that it's in everybody's interest, or should be in everybody's interest, to depose Hamas as quickly and easily as possible. They've made it incredibly difficult. Obviously, the tunnel system, they have some 300 miles of tunnel underneath the ground. They've stolen billions of dollars in order to pursue that. They've built up resources under there. It's going to be a slog. It's going to take a lot longer than people think it's going to take. And it's going to cost, by the end of this, it's going to cost a lot of Israeli soldiers' lives, because they're going to have to attempt to go into serious urban terrain and wage this war. So I wish I saw a good way out. I don't see a good way out. I think people, there are a lot of happy solutions that we tend to think about in the West, but very few of them tend to materialize in war.